Hello, good afternoon, or good morning, good evening, depending on where you're connecting from. Thanks for the connection. Thanks for connecting to the General Assembly of the Lifecycle Initiative.
To our online audience, I believe we are connected now. I hope you can hear me well. Without further ado, over to you, Claudia.
Thank you, Archana. Thank you for all for coming and share with us this important meeting, this panel. We will talk about what's missing, what next. This come from the workshop of the Lifecycle Initiative held in last June on global LCA. And we are taking this momentum to analyze together with the panelists here what we can do, how we can move forward and unlock this potential challenge. Let me just present briefly Mauro Cortella, Policy Officer at the European Commission, DG Environment. Pippa Norton from South Africa. She's Principal Consultant and the Greenhouses in South Africa. And Jiti Munkalasari. He is National Science and Technology Development Agency in Thailand. And finally, Marisa Vieira is Director of Solution at Precon Sustainability. Thank you for coming. Mauro, from your perspective at the European Commission, what policy mechanisms must proven to be effective in integrating life cycle assessment into environmental regulations?
Thanks, Claudia. Good morning, everybody. So I have now the burden to break the ice with this $1 million question. So I think that first of all, we should say that there are different uses of LCA in policies. And there are some easier uses, like when LCA is applied in the preparatory phase of the policy cycle, or when it is used for the impact assessment or evaluation of the effectiveness of different policy options. Those, I would say, that are relatively straightforward application. But then we have seen in the more recent years now we started to also apply LCA in implementation of policy for the development of regulations to regulate the carbon footprinting or the environmental footprint of products. And here is where I would say there are some more challenges to tackle, because there, when we are regulating the market, we really need to ensure that LCA is a tool that can enable the quantification of reliable and comparable information. And this calls then for the availability of good quality data, and also for harmonized rules, which is not always very easy to calculate or to define because of different interests of different stakeholders at EU or global level.
So the mechanism through regulations can be more specific if we can associate that with a product-specific policy, for instance. It makes this more practical.
Yeah, as I said, that for instance, we have some example of application to the carbon footprint of batteries or PV systems, or we are also now considering the expansion of the declaration to other impact category for critical raw materials. But as I said, that something is to have a tool which is used in the background to shape policies. That could be to define the rules for packaging waste. And another thing is when we require operators on the market to declare the information and to show that their performance is below a certain number. You can have different interests based on technologies or geographical area. Then there is a kind of issue in finding data that are good and that can ensure that the numbers reported are certain and fair among the different operators.
Thank you. GT, please. Okay. GT, this resonates somehow with what is doing in terms of strategy, can be more effective in building LC capacity in Thailand and South Asia. What Mauro says.
Thank you so much. I think the starting point of the implementing LCA should start from policymakers. We have spent almost 10 years to convince the cabinet of the Prime Minister to join us. And we start from Ministry of Environment, which worked very well, but it's quite limited in terms of the budget and expansion. And now we go for Ministry of Energies, Transportation, and at the end we go for the Mr. Prime Minister, and it worked very well. We have such kind of the green procurement that pushed the eco-labeling grow very fast in the last 10 years. We have more than 10,000 products that got the carbon footprint in Thailand right now. And also we go to the next step. We use the concept LCA to evaluate the organization under state enterprise as well. What I would like to say is policy is important. We need a budget as well to drive them. And at the end, the infrastructures, whether data, methodologies, platform, and right now we see, in a couple of years ago, we see the AI platform go through the whole LCA study. So I think it's very well. Our strategies not only collaborate with the higher ranking of the policymakers, we have to integrate with the industrial sector as well. Normally, people who export products to European markets, North American market, in interest in this topic. So I think one thing for policymakers, and on the other side, on the exported companies, it could be great. And we need to develop internally people who understand the concept of LCA. We have to develop the lecturers in universities, research institute, and we run it for almost 10 years, and it's going very well in Thailand right now. So I think it's pretty good strategy for Thailand. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we want to have the perspective of consultancy. So what are the biggest challenge industries are facing adopt LCA tool at a scale, and how is PRE, companies such as PRE, sustainability are addressing this?
Many thanks, Claudia, and thank you to Lawrence and Arshana and colleagues for the invitation. It's big shoes to fill to come after Mark Goedkoop and Erik, but very happy to be here today. I could list quite a few of them, I would say, and if we hear also speakers yesterday, today, something they continue struggling with is streamlining data collection. And I think that the technology is there to, build APIs between LCA tools and the data systems that businesses have. But that is certainly something that is still evolving, and many are not quite there yet. So that would be one. The other one is then on the output side. How can we make sure that the LCA calculations, but most importantly, the insights that come from that in terms of how can we reduce the footprint, can be accessible to the business functions that actually have the means to do that. So product designers need to access LCA results and so on. And also there, I think that the solution is really in integrating LCA within those business functions. And I had to write this down because otherwise I would mention 10. And I think the latter is really doing it for entire product portfolio, so not only for a few.
I'm curious, it has some relation to make tools more accessible, more simple for, hide a little bit the complexity without losing rigorosity and so on for industry to really adopt them.
Yeah, no, certainly. And that was also what I tried to emphasize during my keynote yesterday. I think that the tools that LCA experts use and the tools that are used by the non-LCA experts at businesses really have different needs, but also they have to have different user interface. They have to be asked also different things. So that, it really needs to be embedded within, for instance, the product design tools that product designers are already using, and not that they are asked to use a completely separate LCA tool where they need to know LCA in order to calculate.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Pippa, It's your turn. What do you see as the most persistent methodological challenges that still prevent LCA being scaled and mainstreamed access sector?
Thank you, Claudia, and hello, everybody. Yeah, so I think if we're talking methodological challenges, so setting aside, of course, the data and the tools, which are very much needed for the mainstreaming, I would say similarly actually to Marissa's answer in that I think in our efforts to standardize and simplify LCA, we must be careful not to lose really the decision support value of LCA so that businesses really see why they're doing it. It's not just being imposed on them. We're seeing this quite a lot. There's the, we feel the pull from Europe and the regulatory aspect, but there's not a lot of understanding of that value that LCA can bring beyond just you need this for market access. So I think it's really having tools that are still able to be fitted to the particular decision context and not just prescriptive, maybe coming from above or from outside. So yeah, I guess it's back to that foundational concept of methods needing to be fit for purpose.
Well, we're going back to Mauro. Unfortunately, we have not too much time, so please limit your answer and put the key things in more or less 2 minutes. Sorry for that. How can international collaboration help align LCA policy frameworks across regions, especially between European Union and emerging economies? Mauro, please.
Yeah, thanks. So I think that this is fundamental to have international collaboration and harmonization. Also because the product value chain are global in nature. And so it is very important that we put the different stakeholders all together. Of course, this is very easy to say at words, but then in practice, it means that also to find a delicate balance between different interests that also there can be in different parts of the world. I think that it is fundamental that when we do this effort, we always have clear in mind what is the overarching goal, and then to try to put everybody in a multiple win situation that is, as I say, is very easy to say by words, but more difficult to implement in practice.
Sorry, but what could be a practical implementation of this?
Well, I think here we are together with, we are guests of the Life Cycle Initiative. This is a very great opportunity, for instance, to have different players from different parts of the world all together. I think that then, if I can complement my answer, I also think that we need then to ensure that we have a good representations in terms also of stakeholders. I feel that sometimes we lack industry and governments in this kind of fora. Mm-hmm. And so I think that those should be also involved to have such actions more effective.
Yeah, and in terms of sectors, we can say that also the world is a little bit fragmented because normally resources are in emerging countries. So I think involving sectors could be a way also to reach them.
Yes, also sector industry association, but so far we have a lot of representation from scientific world and from specialized business and consultancy on LCA.
Thank you. Fiti, how can regional data generation efforts be aligned with a global platform like GLAD to ensure interoperability? What do you think about it?
Thank you, Claudia. I think that if I see from their developing countries perspective, I think we need appropriate infrastructures. If we have tools that help many countries, I think that third countries like Thailand, our neighboring countries, we need more infrastructures to collect the whole data. But the tool is just one thing. The most important is collaboration in the nation as well. we have many industries. We have to invite them to join the network, share the data, and I think this is starting point. We see many countries progress rapidly in the last 10 years because they have their own data, they have their own system. So hopefully to progress in terms of their collaboration, it's great. To progress in terms of technology is great. And at the end, we need at least the minimum infrastructures for developing countries that need help, in my opinion. So I think 70% of the world wide right now, we still need it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but what specifically in relation to this new platform, how you can ensure operability, interoperability, if we are all from, not all here, but some of them are from developing countries, so how this could be improved and enhanced those?
Right. I think it's very good questions of their platform because of the most important thing is the reliability, right? So we need a huge in terms of the reliabilities on their platform. And before have a very good platform, good data, I think we should start literally from the human development, in my opinion. And if people know very well in terms of their technical term of LCA sustainabilities, they can provide appropriate information in the platform. And if they understand both technical term and if they then correctly on the platform, I think it could work very well. But right now, it seems to me that there is still a gap between people who really work on LCA in Europe and in certain areas like Asia Pacific that we still need some help to progress in this area. So platform is good, but human development is also important for us as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now move to Marissa. How can we improve the usability and accessibility of LCA software for non-expert in industry and policy?
I think I indicate, first of all, very, very necessary because those are often the decision makers at the table. So we really need to make sure, and this was precisely what Pippa was referring to earlier about the value of LCA as an instrument. We need to make this in an accessible manner for them. So although I love CIMA Pro, I use it for 20 years, it is truly, an LCA expert tool. We really need to look into, way simpler dashboards and instruments that they can use where the only thing they are being asked is, tell us what is your bill of materials, tell us where you are sourcing it from. And of course, in the foundation, it's what LCA experts have been prepared on basis of the insights of, what are the hotspots within that industry, what are the key contributors. But I really think that making it accessible and showing the value of what they can do with the intelligence they get out of the results, it's fundamental. And I also think, and this might be a bit controversial, but I think we need to sexify LCA a little bit. And by sexify, I mean make it sexy. I don't know if this is an English word, but if it's not, then I added it. Because I think it still has a very academic kind of, perspective. And I think that the cradle to cradle and other aspects that have come later managed this way better. So I really think that one issue we need to address as well is communication to consumers. So how to use labels or the A to E or whatever, and sometimes accept that it might not be perfect, but it's necessary if we wanted to.
Yes, what we talked before, to take out some complexity without, losing rigorosity. Thank you. Pippa, your turn. Based on your experience, what approaches have prevent more effectively in helping organization not just learn about LC, but actually embed it in their strategies and practices?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the need for tools and data, because we can have training workshops and we can raise awareness, but LCA is a practical undertaking at the end of the day, and without the tools and the data for participants to do some sort of hands-on and preferably to take it forward so they have something that they continue working with after a training, it just remains, you know, as an interesting afternoon of new information. So yeah, it's really, and it's also working with maybe that LCA data, which tends to come, you know, we tend to use the European data, it's getting better, but we need to learn to work with the data in our particular context. And I think that's where a hands-on, if you have the tools, you have the data, and we do a training where you can really understand how you can work with LCA data and adapt it to your context and take it forward into your own case studies and your own business strategies, then that learning stays there. And of course, ongoing support is also very helpful, but I think it is the hands-on aspect that's really needed.
So clear, thank you. Now your last question. What lessons can be drawn from the European policy experience to inform global effort in embedding lifecycle thinking into environmental governance?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So I would like to start my answer saying that, as we say, that life cycle assessment is a scientific tool, but then when it is applied to policies, we cannot rely only on science. Science will be able to limit the uncertainty that we have, but not to take it out completely. And this then means that we need to complement scientific information with also other more value choice-based information that we require, and transparency and the interaction with all the relevant stakeholders. So to ensure transparency and that the views are of everybody are properly taken into account. Then another thing that must be considered also is that when we apply science and LCA to policy, we need also necessarily to simplify. So simplification is very high in the policy agenda, and it was said just a few minutes before that if you want to make LCA to succeed, we need to take on board that we will need to apply some simplifications, not too much at the expense of scientific coherence, but this is needed if we want to succeed in the promotion of LCA. And that is fundamental because we only if we have also LCA well integrated in policies, then we will be able to launch also a signal to the market and then further catalyze and scale up the application of LCA.
GT, very related to what Mauro just said. What role do academic and government partnership play in mainstreaming LCA in developing economies?
I think it's a critical point here. It's going to be like you mentioned. We never go alone. I mean, government can go in direction, but we need a very close relationship between academia and government. And I do believe that if we really want to progress in terms of LCA implementation, this is a must that we should go. And hopefully that Thailand have a very great relationship between academia and government. So I think it's maybe a case study that you may do the same things in the last 10 years, and we work very well together. And right now, many LCA experts, right now, they integrate in different ministries. For example, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Energies, they also employ such person of LCA expert in integrating and try to push information when they develop some new policy as well. So we have a very good progress, and the people in almost important production ministries right now. So it's a yes for me for sure.
Well, Marisa, your last questions. What innovation in LCA modeling or data management do you see as a game changer for mainstream adoptions?
One would be, and that's more for increasing data availability, configurable models as a kind of an archetype. So you need, for instance, if we take transport, you need a kind of an archetype with which you can build different types of transport with different fuel options, but you have a skeleton to build from. And I think that's really, it can really be a catalyzer for more data availability. That's actually also in the vision of the global LCA platform.
Okay.
But I think that one thing, well, one big challenge that we face is interoperability, because different softwares have different data formats, but value chains are global. People are free to take whatever software they want. We thought at first that the ILCD format created by the European Commission would be the solution to all of it, but it's still, you know, somewhat proprietary. So there might be, yeah. So I see it hasn't come across as the holy grail to that as well. So I really think that we need a modern data format that is really adopted by all softwares, both on import as well as export, to really have seamless data exchange between tools.
Excellent, thank you. Pippa, this is the last question, but it's a very long one. And given your consulting work with diverse industries, where do you see the biggest opportunities for practical uptake of LCA tools? And what support or data improvement would make the difference for business trying to integrate lifecycle thinking into design decision making?
Thank you. A long question, and I'll try and make it a short answer. And that I think the biggest opportunity would be to, or improvement would be to include, or actually necessary, is to include a social element. So when we try and sell LCA to businesses and to government, the first comeback is, of course, there no decisions will be made on environment alone. And in South Africa, by far the biggest emphasis is on development and socioeconomic upliftment. So, and when we did a national database roadmap a couple of years ago, and we did stakeholder consultation, what came out very clearly was the need to include social data within our environmental data. So yeah, that's
amazing.
Unfortunately
Thank you.
complicates it more, but I think that is really would be what would really catalyze uptake.
But this is different from other developing countries. In terms of social, this is not, well, it's not mainstream yet, but I think it will be. Thank you for that. Well, before we are almost in time, and we really did it very well, but just to wrap up and everyone to say, how is the next, what's next, what is missing? I would say, from what you say, everyone say here, to introduce mechanisms related to product specific would appear to be important. Also, coming from this very atomized world, many local things to a global, and provide collaboration, provide international collaboration, and also industry, academic, and other parties should be important. So please, can you just summarize what you say and what you see for what is next and what is missing? Each of one of you, the main thing, just 1 minute for everyone. Mauro?
For me, the keywords are harmonization and data. And to arrive there, we need to join forces in terms of human resources, but also technological opportunities. But these for me are the two things where we need to work and where we need to have a collaboration at different levels, including the effort of the life cycle initiative.
So yeah, what's next? I guess, I hope the real uptake. I think we're seeing such a strong increase, and I think it's so next is just hopefully more of a very increased in awareness, and actually from awareness to actual implementation of LCA from a Global South perspective. Missing, I guess I would reiterate then the missing is the social element to really bring, we've been talking to them as separate tools for decades, I'd say. We're still yet to really get a good way of harmonizing the social and the environmental dimensions together into a single assessment tool.
Super. This.
Sorry. In short, I have three words that are important for me. The first one is infrastructures. We really need it to progress for the BRIC countries. Secondly, we need a huge collaboration to progress together. And at the end, the human development is still important, in my opinion. Thank you very much.
And because I'm not so good at picking, but good at dreaming, I would love if we not only have a vision for the global LCA platform, but realize it. And I think that really requires collective effort, collective intelligence, and not just looking to the side and say it will happen because it's in the document. So this is a call for action to the entire community to contribute.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for participating, Marisa, Jetty, Pipa, and Mauro. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Claudia, for moderating the panel discussion and managing time. You did very well. I know we started late, but for engagement and because we are meeting for the first time in a hybrid format and in person, and you're all here sacrificing your lunch, I want to give an opportunity to one of you to ask a question to our panel. And while you're thinking, I have a question from the online audience and I'll pass it on to you. And I think it's maybe directed towards Mauro. You're the you're the one people want to talk to. So the question is, how do we plan to finalize sectoral benchmarks in LCA? Is PEF and LCA going to sync in future?
Can you repeat the last part of the question, please?
So it says, is PEF and LCA, are PEF and LCA going to sync in future? I don't know. Yeah.
I'm not sure that I understood the question, but anyhow, for the benchmarking is quite a complex thing because I think we need to ensure that when we set benchmarks, we are sure that the data that we put there are statistically representative. So this can be done at different levels in the policy making process. I'm thinking now that like in sustainable product policy, you collect data during the preparatory phase where you need to define which are the policy options that you can implement. I'm thinking to eco-design or eco-label. So there is a first step. Of course, if you have a PEF, you have some data points, but I think that there must be in general when you define policy, you need to go a bit beyond what is normally done with PEF. With PEF, you can have a benchmark as a representative product, but then this may be alone not sufficient to define what can be the performance threshold or the performance of other products.
Sorry, the question was around synchronization and alignment, but from the audience, do we have a question, please? That was fastest finger first, Simone, right?
What you said, which I agree in total, is that being in the Life Cycle Initiative since 2012, I mean, I've seen a lot of things going very well, some other going a bit more, you know, put aside for a while. So for me, the real point that knowing that UNEP doesn't have any direct policy involvement in any of the countries, but it would be like more a transversal entity that can put all the people together. People are keen to collaborate, I guess, in the community more and more over time. What we need is from government, from funding government or even government around the table in the Life Cycle Initiative to really take the actions and the discussion points and the initiative from the Life Cycle Initiative and bring this to policy, because otherwise it's just a matter of, I mean, is aleatory, you know. Some things could be adopted, some other could be just stay aside. So we are keen to put our effort in the community, but we need to see this action directly translated into reality. That's my comment for what we discussed today.
I put in my keynote speech, which are the challenges. So data, simplification, harmonization. So, and we need to have support by government. So, but, and then we need to have companies who are willing to make life easy of the policymakers, not to make troubles.
Okay, great. Interesting conversation. Thank you so much, everyone, for waiting. I think I can also thank the wonderful panel that I have here. Thank you so much for the engaging conversations.
Okay, thank you, everyone, for staying for the second part of the assembly. So I think that the second part is really dedicated to a quick update on all the some of the lifecycle initiative project, because we don't have the time to talk about all the projects. And the first presenter will talk about the global LCA knowledge platform. So I invite Ming Zhu to present about that. He is the chair professor of carbon neutrality at Tsinghua University, China. He has been closely involved in the development of the platform, so it will provide some insight about the development.
Thanks, everybody. Ming Xu here from Tsinghua University. We do LCA research and practice in China and developing database in China. So I'm here to give you a quick introduction, brief on the global lifecycle assessment platform. So as we all know, there are a lot of issues with LCA, like what we just heard. So over the years, I think there are a lot of common interests from stakeholders in the LCA universe to create a shared global LCA knowledge platform. So this picture here you see is from Lawrence from UNEP Lifecycle Initiative. In this is a vision that he has. Essentially, with this global platform, LCA users, researchers, software development developers, method developers, and everybody else can participate, can get benefit, can share resources in the same platform. So essentially, it's a one-stop platform for LCA, promote global accessibility, interoperability, capacity, and also it's aligned with UNEP's global environmental data strategy. So with that in mind, we organized a workshop in July 10th and 11th in Milan, Italy. The workshop was co-hosted by us, UNEP LCI, and University of Padova. And many of people in the room and online right now participate in the workshop. And as you can see, major stakeholders in the LCA community were there. So the workshop was really just to talk about that shared vision and see if we can put that together. So at the end of the workshop, we initially decided to have 4 working groups. The first one is to work, focus on data standards and methodology. Second, focus on data quality review curation. Third one, focus on platform governance and stakeholder engagement. Last one, focusing on technical development and infrastructure. Again, this is a very temporary names of the working groups. But the goal is to really to mobilize all the resources we have from all the stakeholders, participants to move us toward that shared vision global LCA platform. So the next step will be around the middle of this month. We probably will have a kickoff meetings, follow-up meetings with all those for the participants and also other interested parties from the LCA community. And then by end of the month, we will officially establish the working groups, and by mid October, finalize a term of reference for each working group, and by end of October, draft a blueprint. outline. And then by end of the year, we hope to publish a blueprint version 1 to just tell the world that how we want to achieve this global LCA platform. Right. So that's it, and I think there will be more details shared through emails, how to participate in the working groups, etc. And looking forward to working with all of you for this global platform.
Thank you for the quick presentation of the project. And if you have any question, I think that Archana also presented some aspect of the project this morning. So really feel free to ask question online or to come to see us after. Then the second presentation will be from Claudia Giacovelli. Claudia is Program Manager Officer at UNEP, and she has been leading the work on the textile sector. So I will let you present some of the updates related to that.
Thank you very much, and hello, everybody. What I will share with you is that basically we have been really looking at incorporating life cycle approaches and life cycle thinking throughout our textile work stream. UNEP, as you've heard also this morning, has reorganized the work focusing on high impact sectors, so the sector that really are driving impact in the economy, and textile has been recognized as one of such high impact sectors. So we have really looked at incorporating as much as possible life cycle approaches from a capacity building perspective. So we have a program in several developing countries where we are training practitioners on to help also businesses to offer them the services to actually assess the product environmental footprint of textile products in their countries, and to come up with strategies so that to identify and prioritize the strategies that they can put in place to actually reduce the environmental footprint of the textile sector. In UNEP, in addition to the Life Cycle Initiative Secretariat that we host and that we have been, thank you for the slides, that we have been hosting and that you are a member of, we also have established a textile initiative. And so we collaborate very closely. I'm a part of the two teams in a way, and I'm leading the data and LCA work in the textile sector. Here you can see some of our resources that we've already developed to come up and to identify what were the priority activities that UNEP should be focusing on in terms of work in the textiles. We actually started from a hotspot assessment of the entire textile value chain. So we know that currently the majority of the textile value chain is really linear. We need to transform it to circular. And we strongly believe that LCA can play a substantive role in actually implement that transformation. Yesterday, we had a session where we presented some of our projects, etc. We have currently activities in Africa and in Asia as well, where we are also looking at how can we increase the data availability. So we are going to develop life cycle inventories, environmental and social, as we have heard also in the previous panel that the social dimension is a fundamental aspect. So we are trying to test that. We'll also look together with the other partners of the Life Cycle Initiative and partners in South Africa, for example, how we can augment with AI also the development of such life cycle inventory databases. So it's going to be a test, a learning curve for everybody, I would say, but with the objective to collaborate, work together, and see how we can increase the localized availability of data, localized skill sets. We have developed some tools, but we are looking also at players here in the room to help us also harmonize these tools that are simplified for SMEs. I heard you, Marisa, earlier, so we can talk later. And I think the main priority is really for us to make sure that the sector shifts to circularity, focusing on decisions that are science-based. And for us, the main tool that can help us drive those decisions and make those decisions for the sector is LCA. So we are really using the tool for all the decisions that we are taking to support also developing country transition. And I'm unable to move forward with the slides. So I think the set will be passed on to all of you. This is a bit the explanation of our Intex program that we have in Africa. So in Kenya, Tunisia, and South Africa. We have started in India and we have expanded to Indonesia. We hope to really expand the footprint and presence of this program in terms of support to the SMEs and to the governments from a policy perspective in as many countries as possible, so that we can actually grow the network, but also grow the life cycle knowledge available to the various countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claudia. I think that you could have a full hour just to present all the results. It's 5 minutes, it's not a lot of time. So challenge will be also for you, Archana, to present in 5 minutes all the work that you are managing and at UNEP. So you have been leading the work on biogenic carbon, GLAD, GLAM, I mean, all the name that I think we should all know, but maybe you could just explain us if we don't know the names.
Great, thanks. And I hope, because this is the General Assembly and all the members are convening here, I hope you are all reading our newsletters and you're aware of what we are doing at the Life Cycle Initiative. The objective today, which I thought I would like to update the members on, was essentially the work that we are doing on bringing harmonization in modeling LCA in biogenic carbon. This was also a demand which came from the community itself, where people reached out to us requesting that they needed the Life Cycle Initiative backing to initiate, again, a consensus-based process, because we've been running a lot of consensus-based initiatives already. And bring harmonization to the work that is happening in the biogenic carbon space, where there are different initiatives, diverse initiatives. So how can we bring all of it together and help develop a guideline which in itself is something that has been based on a consensus-based process, and we engage with the relevant stakeholders. We try and bring in constituencies and regions which, let's say, are currently not well represented in the discussion on global platform. And with that objective, we launched the project last year in 2024. The idea was to develop harmonized, scientifically sound and stakeholder-informed recommendations to improve biogenic carbon accounting in LCA. We started off with 4 working groups. There were 2 workshops that were organized last year. Over 160 people were engaged across these 4 working groups. But during the process, I mean, towards the end of 2024, we also realized that this is a very technical subject, but at the same time, there are so many diverse opinions. It's also, if I can use the word, there were heated debates happening in these working groups. And that's when we realized that we probably need a different skill set and expertise for someone to be able to help us bring all those diverse voices together and help us align in a direction where everybody agrees to. And with that objective, we took a pause with the project. But I'm happy to share that we will hopefully be restarting the project again in October this year. And the idea is to come up with the recommendations, hopefully by end of 2026. And we've also made certain changes based on the feedback that we have received from those who were engaging in the project. In terms of adding additional activities like the road testing, which was initially not envisaged, but now we've included road testing also as part of the work that we are going to deliver for the biogenic carbon project. So please do keep your eyes and ears open. We will be announcing the relaunch of the project soon in our next newsletter through our LinkedIn page. And we want you to engage. If you're an expert, if you're an organization working in this space, we would request your contribution and engagement in the project. So I think, yeah, I wanted to be quick. I don't want to keep you waiting from lunch. So Francois, over to you.
No, thank you, all of you, for the updates. I think that if you have questions on all the other projects led by the Life Cycle Initiative, you could come see Archana too, or Claudia, or all the online also members that are there about that. But thank you for this presentation, and I will let you close the agenda. I think it's your...
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm playing multiple roles there. But thank you, Francois. I don't think I properly introduced you, but Francois is from CIRAG, and he's also the member of our steering committee from Science and Civil Society. So if you have any questions about the work that we are doing in the Life Cycle Initiative, they are the ones who are approving all the projects and approving the budget. So please do reach out to Francois as well. If you have any feedback, if you have any complaints, please catch your representative.
I will try to represent all the diverse opinions that we have in the room in the steering committee.
Great. Thank you. With this, I think, yes, of course, I have to thank the funding partners for the Biogenic Carbon project also. We are still fundraising for the project. So if you have money, please, I'm here. Please reach out. We need we need funds to be able to deliver what we have agreed to deliver as part of the project. Yeah. I think we can close the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a very patient audience. And thank you so much for joining in person, and also to our online audience. Thank you so much for your patience. And I think it's been wonderful to see all of you in person. And we've had chance to interact with our online audience as well. If you have any feedback, I'm here. I'm here to listen. Positive, negative, you want us to improve something, please do reach out. I'm here to listen. I will not promise that we will be able to address everything, but you have my ear. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Without further ado,